All right, hello there, Skip Foster here with Easy Webinar, and you know exactly who I am. I am the operations guy, the customer success guy. I'm the guy that kind of helps you along your road after you've become a user to help you understand exactly how to use Easy Webinar. We are here once again for our bi-weekly AMA, Ask Me Anything, office hours, whatever you want to call it. We're here with a guest for the first time in a long time. I've been doing these solo for a while, and you've been getting bored with my face, but that's okay. I have two guests on here of an awesome book I happen to have in my hand, and I have read actually several times because I'm trying to understand it and study it. But this is not just something where I'm like, I think these guys wrote a book, and I happen to have it. And there's no notes in here, but what they say on page 12, I've actually read this book several times. I was on the, what would you call it, the guys that, it was the pre-launch or the
Advanced readers.
yeah. As a matter of fact, you know what, well, before we get all into this, let me just verify that we really are live on Facebook real quick. That's always good to check the sound and all that kind of stuff. But if you're watching this here, put your comments below because we want to know what you think about what we're talking about. We were talking about why should you even write a book?
We're off air on my end. It says we're off air on my end, so I don't
know. But yes, because they're not live in the webinar room.
Oh, gotcha.
So yep. Oh no, yeah, I don't want to be confusing. So this is their first time in Easy Webinar, guys. So we'll have to make sure we get them updated.
Say about it.
Four times I was on. Yep, we're live and the sound is rolling. So I am watching your comments in the Facebook group over here on this screen. So if you have any questions for it, but here's the book right here, and I'm going to put a link here in a little bit. We're going to go into the Amazon link. It's published with Jarvis, and the subtitle is "Smash Through Writer's Block to Go from Blank Page to Publisher in 7 Days, Superpowered by AI." And one of the tools that we use when we're writing, and these guys recommend and they teach in their classes, is Conversion AI, which is what conversion.ai is the website. But yeah, so we are here talking about to a bunch of webinar presenters and users about why they should even have a book. What is the point? What's the credibility factor? If you've ever thought about why am I not getting registrations and why aren't people, how do I build credibility before I have credibility, kind of a thing, right? I mean, before I have 1,000 testimonials, what can you do to actually get somebody to look at your registration page, pay attention to it, care about you? Well, one of the things, and in fact, we were talking about this pre-show here, is to be able to say, hey, Skip Foster, author of, right? Darby Rollins, author of, right? And that instantly, I don't care who you are, a book is cool, right, guys? I mean, it almost doesn't, like, I mean, for instance, I mean, I've got my Kindle reader here, and there's a Geico commercial. Let me go past that. Where'd it go? Here we are. I don't care if it's on Kindle. Come on screen. It'll come in a second here. Which, I mean, ebooks back in the day. I mean, I'm very old school when it comes to that kind of stuff. There we go. There it is. So I've got the Kindle version as well. Got the physical book. I'm in the course, but there's just something about being an author and having a book, and we, it's. I mean, trust me, this book is full of meat and taters, as I like to say. It's not that long, and it doesn't have to be. As long as it gets, and we've discussed this in our class before, as long as it gets to the point, right? So let's talk about that. Like, what the credibility of having a book behind you to be able to say, hey, I know my stuff, right? I mean, isn't that what you're really saying? Besides, I have a PDF, right?
Absolutely, Skip. And I think that, and Darby, I don't know if you've said, we're best-selling authors yet, but it is a very nice feeling to say Zachariah, best-selling author, right? So that in itself is really cool. I also wanted to just say live on camera, thank you for your continued support, Skip, in our own process. And part of the Superpowered by AI was directly from your feedback. So just wanted to say thanks for that. But sure. The biggest thing that Darby and I are learning, and we're still learning every day too, is that what a book does for you is makes you become the expert that you already are, right? You can, and it's an evergreen lead magnet for everyone in your community. So Darby, do you want to talk about the examples of some of our students that with what they've gone through?
Yeah, and I don't know, Skip, if it makes some sense to put some context behind how this challenge started. So I unintentionally started this challenge back in January of this year. I was right there at the beginning when Conversion A started to become a company and develop their founding member audience base to use this AI and see how it applies. And my initial use case for it was writing Amazon listings, and I've done well over 1,000 Amazon listings over the last few years, and an absolute expert on that as a specific topic, but I didn't have any way, it was all in my head. I didn't even have a blog about it. And I was getting pretty frustrated, really by just hitting writer's block and not getting to the point where I actually write stuff and that share my knowledge on this topic with people. So I put my head down one weekend and I decided I was going to go blank page all the way to publish over the weekend on a book called Amazon Copywriting Secrets. And I did that. And by Wednesday, I had a physical copy of it in my hand where I started this challenge for myself on Friday. And I basically shared what I did with the other members of Conversion AI at the time. And because it was exciting, I was like, holy shit. Like I was joking with my girlfriend throughout this whole weekend, trying to like keep my energy and like focus. But I said probably a few dozen times, I'm a published author. Like I was just like, I want like just like the prestige that you could say, like how many people could say they're published? Like, yeah, I published my own book, right? Sure, there's a lot of published authors out there, but there's a whole heck of a lot more people that have never gotten to that point, that finish line of like actually starting and completing the race. And so that's what this challenge is all about, is like how do us business owners, entrepreneurs, people that are always looking for like we're always going after the next best thing or building our business, or you know what I mean, it's hard to like maintain legit focus on something for, you know, sometimes it's longer than a few hours for me because I'm pretty ADHD. But this 7-day challenge is giving us a specific time frame to just knock it out and just do a really hardcore sprint once a month and make some real serious progress on your book, and even publish what we're calling the minimum viable book edition. Kind of like what we're playing off with the Publish with Jarvis book. We're just getting it to that point where we can get it in people's hands, we can get our point across, we can get feedback, and then we can make the next editions of the book after that. And so that's really what we do inside of the process. It's 7 days of really intense focus on top of some really, really solid training from coaches, best-selling marketers, and other experts in the publishing field, such as Zachariah here, who's, you know, he helped thousands of people publish books. And just building this awesome community of people that are tapping into artificial intelligence to help make it happen faster than ever before. So, you know, in a nutshell, I guess that's kind of what we're all about. But it's, you know, really cool to see the excitement around this, just like having Skip join us every week. We're continuing the conversation. Just a really fun time to, you know, be a part of this community for sure.
I think one of the most powerful things that I've seen is that, and just in, you know, my dad and I run a company called thebookbatch.com, which is a self-publishing website. It's been around for about 13 years. We've published in total over 60,000 books and printed millions of copies. And what we find over and over and over again is one of the hardest things that we see people go through on our site, because we're a self-publishing site, we don't provide a ton of like writing support, right? Is that people come, they upload their manuscript or some version of their manuscript, they play around with our cover designer in there, and they never click publish. They disappear, they get busy, they go do whatever else, whatever other excuse. So when I saw what Darby was doing with the writing the book in a weekend, I said, and I'm also friends with Austin, saw what they're doing inside of Conversion AI. I was like, holy shit, we can, I mean, this is the barrier that most people go through from wanting to write a book. Everyone, I mean, I think it's what, 90% of people want to write a book in this world, or feel they have a story that's interesting enough to share. And we're breaking down the barriers for anyone to write and publish a book. And not only can we do it, we are proving that we can do it in 7 days. And not everyone finishes within 7 days. That's okay too. But the bulk of that aha, when you get that aha moment of like, oh shoot, I can get it done, right? I mean, Skip, I'm sure you had the aha. Most of our students, that's the push of like, I can actually do this and hit publish and be a published author or self-published author. You know, that's really, really powerful. That's what I love about this process, and I love what we're teaching. And the AI tool itself is no joke. It's like Darby and I today were sitting down with a master storyteller, and I was so interested to see what he would think of it, because his whole thing is about creating story. His name is John Livesay, and creating story and selling through storytelling, right? And I was like, can we make it happen with Jarvis? And we actually got 1,000 words out of some pretty incredible creative copy. So now we're diving even deeper into that world of, can you actually write, and can you actually write well? We're proving that every single day, and that's super, super exciting for us.
That first challenge, it was like 12 or 13 people actually like went through and published their book, and it was their first. In most cases, I think it was their first book.
Right.
Skip, it was a couple challenges ago when we first got connected. What was that aha moment for you during that challenge?
Yeah. So the biggest part is when you think about writing a book, and I don't know where you are, with your business, your coaching. I don't know if you're a health coach, a life coach, a course creator, whatever. But when you think about the fact that you already have so much content, you've already probably maybe even have a YouTube channel. Maybe it's only got 12 videos on it, but there's content on those 12 videos, right? You've got some blog articles you've written. You've certainly, if you're a course creator and if you're using Easy Webinar to sell your courses, then you have information, you have things that you've created. The aha moment for me is when I joined these guys and realized that, especially in the world we're talking about nonfiction books here. This is different from a storyline where we just start from the beginning of, let's see how the story goes. This is nonfiction, and nonfiction books can come together so much faster than you might realize, because, and this is what Darby's talking about, my aha moment was that there are chunks in here, right? So there's a chapter, and then there are steps to that chapter, right? I'm currently Casey's got our CEO has a book that he's coming out with hopefully before the end of the summer, and it is called Webinar Lab, and it is all of his formulas and frameworks on how to use webinars for your business, live and automated. And my book that I'm using in their challenge is Webinar Presentation Secrets. I'm building a book on how to actually, not all the edge stuff, not how to get registrations or write your emails, but truly right into the meat and potatoes of a webinar of what do you say and how do you decide what to say. Well, when you look at it, and whatever you have, maybe you have a coaching business on how to scale a business from 6 figures to 7 figures, and you can help entrepreneurs do that. You have a framework already that you teach people, and that framework has steps to it. And so it's literally just a matter of saying, not thinking about, oh my goodness, I got to write 30,000 words or 10,000, whatever, 60. Like, well, how many thousands of words do I have to write? It's not that at all. It's in this section. How many words does it take to complete the thought and get to the next section? 400, 500, 1,000? Do you realize we can speak? I saw this on a YouTube video. This is why it's going to make me look smart. You can speak 5,000 words an hour. Right. Like right now, like if we were to take the transcription from this live stream that we're doing right now and put it into words, there'd be thousands of words that have been exchanged in these last few minutes that we've had here. Now, it was Ray Edwards. I was watching his YouTube channel, and he was talking about this yesterday in his newest YouTube video about how that you can type 500 to 600 words a minute, on a normal blog article, an hour, and really frame out a decent article of just like pure thought from the beginning to the end. But we speak at 5,000 words an hour. And think about your webinars. You guys already have webinars. You guys probably already have a book. I can't remember who it is. I want to say Ping Jun from the ClickFunnels community, who literally took his webinar and even the slides of his webinar and put it in a book. The transcription of his webinar and then each page is another slide and then some explanation on it. But that's the book he uses. I think it's like whatever it is, pengjun.com. But he's a 2 Comma Club winner with ClickFunnels, and which means that if you don't understand, if you don't follow ClickFunnels, that means he's made $1 million in that particular funnel, with his webinar script turned into a book. Well, what does he do? He takes that and puts that now on the front end of his registration page and uses that as an opt-in. Hey, get my, whatever it's usually, I think his is a, free plus shipping book, right? And you get the book. But the book is his framework for his webinar. So, and here's the cool part about this whole thing is it's not, I got to come up with this, and I got to come up with this, and I got to come up with this, and I got to come up with this. It's not that at all. It's so much more of, this is their framework, right? I mean, like if I want to understand Darby and Zachariah's framework, I can get the book. I can go to Amazon.com and I can get the book. Or if I don't want to spend as much to get the book, I can, what is it, like $7.99 or something like, I can get the Kindle version, right? And I can understand their framework. Or I can join their challenge and it's the same framework, deeper, right? Or, right, we go into the mastermind and the coaching program. It's the same framework. It's just even deeper yet, right? So it's not like, I know a lot of times as course creators, we think of, I got to come up with another course and another this. No, you don't. It's all the same. Your framework is your framework. You're going to take your framework of your webinar and put it into book format, right? You don't have to come up with something brand new. You don't have to think of, if I decided to write a book, what would it be? I guarantee you, if you thought about it, you already have the book ready to go. And that's kind of what, when I came to these guys, I was like, I know exactly what I'm going to do, because there's just no question about it. I mean, it's already rolling around in my head. I've taught it so many times. Now I just actually need to get it, into a book format. So yeah, I mean, that was a long way of explaining my aha moment, but that's really what it is you don't have to recreate the wheel. You guys, especially you guys that are using Easy Webinar, you already have your book.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, that makes me think of something that John Rhodes, one of the coaches in the challenge, when we were having our interview with him, he's powerhouse entrepreneur type, has a bunch of different businesses he's involved in, and his whole way of thinking about these things was, I'm creating a machine to create a machine, right? And how do I leverage the machines that I'm creating to create more machines? And that's kind of what we're building here, Zachariah and I, is our idea is like the big ticket book machine, right? We're all selling something on the back end of a book anyways. If you don't have that book out in an easy to deliver format, then that's an easy next step to getting more people, for one, it's in front of your funnel, but even just like leapfrogging to the next interview or conversation or speaking engagement, right? Like now, how are authors, which we see them come through the challenge, like what's the next step once the book is done? Like, how do you use that book to get you in front of a lot more eyeballs to see your offers that you've already created, right? And so like really taking leveraging to its highest degree with this book, and we just want to make it simple. And like now you don't have to worry about writing your advertising copy, because we have Jarvis to do it, right? Like write your ads for a month in an hour, like all of this stuff is possible. And this book training program is basically a crash course on how to use Jarvis for that case. And so, I mean, while I'm kind of like spent on writing a book for at least another month, I think, I'm applying Jarvis to a lot more of these other things. I'm like, now that I have a book, we need to write these types of emails. Or now that we have a book, we need to do these types of things. And again, it's like all trickling down to basically content that we already wrote inside of the book. So, obviously I recommend people do it, but that's kind of why we wanted to have the book out there, because like, that's like how else, and Zachariah, I want you to talk about this a little bit. Some of the things that we want to leverage these books to be able to do is that like the barrier to entry now is so much lower to actually getting published than it was. Like the old traditional publishing way of having to pay a publisher thousands of dollars to get your book done, it just isn't necessarily the case anymore. And maybe you want to touch a little bit on that.
Yeah. And I'll I will go right out and say it that I think I mean, what we're doing and teaching people to build at the book patch, and empowering people to build their own funnels, like you get with what you do at what everyone does at ClickFunnels, what you do at Easy Webinar here. That's what we tried to do with Publish with Jarvis. Is we wanted to make it organic. Yes, I mean, it's not difficult to get Amazon bestseller. It's not difficult to get Wall Street Journal, USA Today bestseller. We kind of want to try to break that mold, but we want to provide something that, in my opinion, is better. When you can track your customers, what they're doing from start to finish, right? From buying the book to then getting in your atmosphere and your kind of your world, your sphere of influence, instead of trying to post something on Amazon, post a book on Amazon, get a ton of views, ton of sales, and never be able to retarget those people, never be able to do anything with those people again because they don't give you customer data. Like, that's a waste. That's such a waste. So with what we're trying to do here is really empower our authors, empower people with stories. To dive even deeper into that is at the book patch, we don't charge any royalties. So we have our printing price for one book, whether you're buying it for yourself or you're selling it to your customers, it's the same price, and really $4 to $7, the book patch. And beyond that, when you list it for sale, you're keeping 100% of your profit. So by doing that, they obviously have to come. We handle all the shipping and fulfillment of the book. It's print on demand. It's pretty straightforward. But we're trying to, again, empower you. You wrote this book. You spent, you put your blood, sweat, and tears into writing the thing. I don't think we should take a piece of that, right? When we're only providing a platform to support you. How that kind of wraps back is like the ability for someone to write a book, the ability for someone to tell their story, and then create a book on it very quickly, get it to market very quickly, and start making money from it is super, super powerful. I mean, think of just anyone that struggled through trauma, right? Or any struggle, right? And they get their story shared, like on the news or anywhere else. A lot of times you're like, oh, well, I feel bad for that person, but there's nothing else. Maybe there's a donation page set up, maybe there's something. But with this ability that we're giving people that we're sharing with people to write a book, I think we can empower them to that, say, hey, if you felt moved by this story of this person, purchase their book and support them. So we're giving them a vehicle to support themselves. And this is all kind of a newer vision for us too. We want to help entrepreneurs. We want to help everyone that feels they have a story inside of them. So is that what you wanted me to touch on, Darby? I think it's.
I mean, it rolled into it. I mean, like what you guys are building at the book patch is just it's going to solve a lot of problems from the people that were just seeing how kind of clunky the fulfillment process of this is too. And that's kind of where Amazon makes it easy. Like, it's Amazon. It's like, cool, by now I don't have to worry about anything, and you can pretty much trust Amazon's going to do it.
Right.
Like, that doesn't mean there's not a lot going on in the background to make sure that book gets printed and all the way. And so you've got an inside look at how the operational side of it works.
Right.
And now that this glass ceiling is getting shattered for people to write their outline, get their story laid out, and get it written. Now you're 90% of the way there. Let's just tidy it up, upload it, and you can have it in your hands in a week if you really want it that quick. But again, it's not like everyone does finish in 7 days either, right? It's like, and I think at the very first one, we had so many people finish right out the gate because there was just there was just a lot of excitement around it, and everyone was really powered up. But one of the things we've learned, I know for a fact, and what Skip and all the feedback from people going through the challenges is how do we make it more deliverable and thus a content overload? Because that was slowing people down. People were getting through all the content on day 4. You're like, crap, now there's only 3 days left in the week. So we really want people now to sign up at least a week or 2 in advance, to just get in and start to kind of absorb some of the information and do some of the worksheets and get started on your outline. Because the way we want it to be built is that it's like the homework and the pre-work phase, and that's how it's set up now after the last few weeks of adjustment. That pre-work, so that when it's game time on day one of the challenge, like you're ready to like power through. Like, let's get 1,000 words out today. Let's get 5,000 words out today, right? Like, set these goals for yourself, right? A chapter a day, right? If you have a 7-chapter book, if you got the outline ready, I mean, you could power through a chapter or two, no problem. With if you do the pre-work right, and you play around with Jarvis a little bit and just kind of get your feel, like
and we're getting much better, and I would say we're very good at the process and using Jarvis right now. But we did, like I said just earlier today, we did 1,000 words in 20 minutes. I mean, yes, it needs to be edited, yes, refined a little bit, but to get to that 15 to 20,000 word mark is really not difficult at all, and that's about 100 pages, right? Just over 100 pages. So that's a book, and with the right tools in place and the motivation, it's absolutely possible. And so that's what we're most excited about.
Yeah, and somebody posted a question in here as far as like, okay, how do you write, like she said, in a weekend, but we're talking 7 days, and that's it's not a sales pitch because it has been done, right? I mean, it is a factual thing. It definitely can be done. It depends on how much energy you put toward it, right? Same with anything, right? But she's asking how do you write a book in a weekend? And so let's talk a little bit about Jarvis. And I'm going to share my screen. I've been did some pre-building in there of some things that we might be interested in as webinar presenters. And so I'll share my screen in that in a minute. But the point of using AI, and Rob is in the group, and he's actually said that he's a Jarvis fan, and he actually said he's written a few books, and we'll come back to you, Rob, here in a minute. I'd like to know if the books you've written are all in the same niche, or if they're varied and just where you just kind of let your mind go and take over, or are they all in the same vein of thinking? But as far as Jarvis, when we say Jarvis is whoever the community has named the computer that runs conversion AI. It's not you can't go to jarvis.com, right, to find anything. This is conversion.ai, and this computer that runs this, the community has named it Jarvis and given it a really cute robot little look and feel, so everybody refers to it as Jarvis. But the point of using AI, and let's discuss that, and then we'll actually share into it and show it a little bit, but is that, and we've talked about this before, like throwing the football down the field, and I can get it that far, but Jarvis picks it up and takes it the next couple yards, right? And then I walk over and I pick it up, or golf, right? I mean, I'm a good one with golf. I can hit it that far, but it'd be nice to have something that could aid me and get it way up there, right? I mean, and that's kind of what Jarvis is. When you're writing, and Jarvis, and like I said, we'll share my screen here in a second, and we'll go look at it. You write and you're typing in Jarvis, and then you sit back a little bit, let your keys, and then hit the button of generate, and then you let Jarvis take your thinking further. It's like you wrote 1 or 2 paragraphs, and all of a sudden Jarvis writes 1 or 2 paragraphs. You write 1 or 2 paragraphs, Jarvis writes 1 or 2 paragraphs, and it just gets you down the field faster. Am I explaining that right, guys, or is there a better way of saying that?
I mean, it really is just having like a copywriting assistant at your beck and will, and to be acting as kind of the editor in chief versus the person that has to do all the heavy lifting of the writing. Mm-hmm. And I see it like Jarvis is almost the one that's taking you, halfway down the field and saying, all right, you're a lot closer to the hole now. And I get unlimited retries if I didn't do a good job getting you down the field, to where you can kind of take over from there, because it still requires your voice, right? And it still requires you massaging the story and following behind, having it make sense, because at the end of the day, it's a robot, right? It's a tool that can be applied in a lot of different ways. So
I like the analogy of, and this was Paula that came up with this, I still use this as much as I can, is Jarvis gets you the marble, and it's your job to be the Michelangelo sculpting the statue of David, right? I love that analogy, and I think that's it. I mean, it does, but there's so much editing, rewriting, so much work that goes into it, that inserting your own voice, inserting your own personal stories into this book writing process that we teach, that I really feel like you are crafting this book, crafting this amazing statue, right, of what you present to the world. So.
Right. Yeah, and I go way back when it comes to that kind of stuff. Like, I probably shouldn't name any names, but those softwares that just rewrite things, that's been out for years. It's not that. We're not rewriting anything. We're not going into somebody else's website or webinar and going, oh, I'm just going to steal that and just twist it and rewrite. It's not that at all. I run through, I did in the beginning. I don't anymore because I trust it now, but I used to run it through plagiarism testing. And, it is original stuff. There is nothing, and it's never come up with, oh, you stole that from Wikipedia or something like that. I've never run across that at all. And I use Jarvis every single day. So let's take a peek in there. Let me share my screen and let's slide in here. So I'm going to go in here. I've set up a couple of things in here already. I'm not going to get into this too much because if you really want to do a deep dive, Rob, you said that you're using this already. I'd like to hear your feedback in there as well, as far as what you think of Jarvis and how you're using it if you're using it with webinars especially. I use it to write my scripts. But there are so many different things we could do. So let's peek in here and take a look at things. Besides the writing part, which we could come up with a document, and I started one here for the case of this example. Writing a book is easier than you think, and it kind of took over. We'll pop in there in a minute. But the two main ones, especially if we think about webinars and story frame and nonfiction, discussions, a lot of these marketing frameworks, the AIDA framework, which is attention, interest, desire, action. This one is great for webinar registration pages. If you're trying to figure out what to say on your registration page, hey, attention, future book authors, are you interested in writing your book, in finishing your book in the next 7 days? Desire, whatever, like right? I could go in here but remember, let's just do it. Why not? We're talking about it. Let's talk about it. So let's just say the company let's just put in here. Keep going back to the old writing with Jarvis days. Published with, let's just say the company is this. And we're going to say the product description is.
Are we screen sharing, Skips? Or
I am not. Wow.
There we go.
There we go. All right, sorry about that. Okay, so published with the Jarvis is the company name. Product description, we're going to say attention, future. I'm not going to write it all because I wanted to do it, but future authors. Did you know you could write your book in, let's just say, less than 10 days or even 2 weeks, whatever we can say, whatever we want to say. Join me in this webinar to see how, something like that, right? And I could use a tone of voice, can be, I'm going to put someone's name in here. I'm going to say Russell Brunson. I like using that one. Let's pop out a few outputs and see what it does.
We're all ClickFunnels guys here.
Yeah, you just got to look at my shelf. Matter of fact, that's a good example of that, right? His 30-day book, none of that is his. It's just interviews with people, A lot of us have, we have that. Like right now, I'm doing an interview. This is a great opportunity for some kind of an output there as far as the book is concerned. Okay, attention future authors. Did you know you could write your book in less than 2 days? Join me for this webinar. I'll show you how to write your book. Redundant here, but sometimes, you got it first. I'm not going to explain this here, but maybe I can come back again in next week's office hours and talk about how to use this to actually build out your webinar scripts and your webinar emails. That's what I use it for. You got to remember it's a computer, and some of these are good and some of these are not so much. I'll show you the process of writing the book from start to finish. I'll show how it can be done in just 10 days or less. You don't need any experience when writing and marketing. All these tools provided for you. All of my best-selling books have been written with this new method. Now I want to show you. this once in a lifetime opportunity where anybody can become an author, blah, 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 right? How long would it take you to write that? And I wrote 10 different options that I could dig from in 15 seconds?
Just to be clear, those three things, those three inputs are the only inputs it's using to generate this content, guys. So you can see how quickly, with the right tools, the right structure, understanding your customer avatar, knowing your why, right, figuring out your goals for your readers and yourself. You can see how this can blow up into a 15,000 word.
You can use up to 600 characters as of right now in this template to describe it, right? So you got a lot of room to give Jarvis more to work with and come up with more unique content.
And a lot of times I'll take these and double up on them. So like maybe since I liked this, I'll take this and go back and throw this into the PAS or the content improver. Let's just try that and put that there and come back over. Let's change the tone of voice this time to voices.
Oh yeah.
You like what?
Empowering is a good one too. Sometimes we're playing around with that one today.
Empowering. Okay. Oh, error. There it goes.
Sometimes.
All right. It's burping. Which it does it every once in a while because so many people are loving it and liking it. Let's go over to Content Improver instead. Throw that paragraph in there. Every once in a while, it'll kick back an error because it's so popular. But I use this, and I'll show you. I won't write emails, but I'll show you some examples I did before the show to get this in here. So if you're looking to be a successful author, you want the process of writing your book done or getting your whatever finished in less than 10 days. Then this webinar is for you. I will show you how it's possible. Join me, blah, blah, blah. I love that. That's really great. Good stuff. I mean, right there, I could sit here and think for about 15 minutes and type out 10 different iterations in a Word doc and then think about which one would be best. Or I can do this and be done, grab that copy, throw it in my easy webinar registration page, and away we go. So much better that way. Like even writing the emails for that. So I was playing with that earlier as well. So I wrote down, this is an invitation to a webinar Thursday at 1 o'clock. We're teaching you why you should write a book to build your credibility as a coach or a course creator. Writing a book is easy with Jarvis and Persian AI. And this is subject lines, right? And so this isn't the email yet, but this is how I start with my subject lines when I'm writing my reminder emails and things like that. So do you struggle to be seen as a credible coach? Love that. You struggle to be seen as a credible coach. Great persuasive copy. What was the top one there? Build your credibility as a coach or course creator. Not as strong as the second one, but that's not bad. But you can see how right there, I did this before and I just pushed the button and created 10 different email subject line options. And again, just like Zachariah was saying, it's only using this. So if I just change this to, hey, remember to join me, thanks for signing up for the webinar. Here's a reminder to show up. Then it's going to, obviously it's going to put that in there. So like if I were to even just put this and say, thank you for registering. Let's see what it does for my webinar on how to write a book in 7 days. Type right. Remember to show up. Let's just see what it does with that. Because you don't have to actually type out the thing. We're giving it a concept. We're giving it just like a starting ramp. Go from it. Let's see what it does. Oops, wrong. Oh, we're now up. Why should I'm Jarvis? You've had webinar reminder to write a book. You're registered for my webinar, how to write a book in 7 days. Remember, it was a week, so obviously I'd have to go in here and kind of change and tweak some of this copy. But the point that we're trying to bring out here is that, and let me stop sharing my window here. Go back. Is you're like, just like we said, you're putting in your thoughts and saying, okay, here's where I'm heading. I could sit here and I could type for the next 20 minutes and think, or I could let it guide me. Now, a lot of times, and matter of fact, most of the time when I'm using Jarvis, I don't necessarily use what it's giving me, but it's gotten me 90% of the way there. And one tweak or it'll bring up another idea that I hadn't even thought of and go, oh, I like that, but I'm going to add this twist to it, and then put that in my email or that on my registration page. The other thing that's really great, as far as since we're talking about webinar registrations, is those nasty bullet points that we always struggle with on our registration page. Like, what am I going to put on why they should show up? Bullet point, bullet point, bullet point. Well, Jarvis has a tool in there, and it's great for writing a book too, is coming up with the points, right? And if you think about it, going back to our original conversation of why it's easier to write a book like that, it's because bullet points are whatever, like here's point 1, point 2, point 3, point 4. You take that same framework and you expand on it, and now you've got a webinar, or you expand on it again and you got a book, or you got a course, or you got a mastermind. It's the same information, it's the same framework. You're just allowing Jarvis to help you down the road to build that out. So anyway, if I could offer, here's some comment here from Rob. If I could offer a guideline formula for an authority book, how the book could be written quickly by making a list of 4 FAQs about your subject, and then the list should be asked questions. Yes, absolutely. That's a good formula. Those should be like the core questions, all that kind of stuff. Use a talk to text program to transcribe. Yep. And matter of fact, we were talking about that before the show when we were doing our pre-meeting about how much easier it is. I use Otter AI on my phone. We've talked about using Descript. It is so much easier to just talk through things and then pop it in there. Yes, and then like Rob says, each of those answers become a chapter, and then you pop it into Jarvis, and boom, away you go. So, absolutely. So let me share my screen here. I've already put the link to the challenge in the Facebook group. I put the link to the book patch. Now I'm going to put the link to the book in there as well. Real quick here. And you told me before the show that the price for the challenge right now, the price is $149 or $147. What is it? Let me go to the price page. $147. But it is going up to what and when?
$497 after 10 p.m. Central tomorrow.
Tomorrow, yes, and that is this. They didn't plan that for this presentation. It's not like this 24 hours to get in. It's been planned for a while, I can tell you that. And so the price right now for the challenge, and the link is in the Facebook group, is $147, but it's going up to just shy of $500 tomorrow. You said 10 o'clock. What time zone?
Central time zone.
Yeah. So, so you want to make sure that you get in. If you're interested in getting in now, this would be the time to do it. Money well spent, I can tell you that 100%. Even if you have to delay and you can't afford it or don't have the time to do it right now, and you have to pay the $500, it's still going to be worth your money. Think about the number of registrations you're going to get, the credibility you're going to have to be able to get on a registration page on a webinar and say, hey, Skip Foster, author of XYZ formula for whatever success, right? Rob, in the book, you've said you've written several books, and you said how it's helped you with the credibility, that you understand what it means to be able to have a book.
I'm interested to know what Rob's books are.
Yeah, Rob, let's see, did you put that in there?
And I just want to clarify for everyone that is interested in joining. We have been building this challenge. I think this is probably our 7th or 8th coming up in July. 12th is when it starts. And through that time, we've had, I think last time we had a little bit over 50 people actually register and buy into the challenge. But we are doing live Q&A calls Monday through Friday that entire week, where we're really working with people inside the challenge to work through any kind of roadblocks that you're hitting with Jarvis, or questions in general. And we bring in some other coaches, speakers, people that have, generally they've already published a book, but they're experts in some other form in the publishing or presentation fields. If money is an issue or something's tight right now, we're more than happy to work out any sort of like payment plans if you need to split it up. Again, this is still very early on in this stage for this course, and we plan to continue to grow and build it. But once you do get access to it, you'll be able to kind of go through all of the content leading up to that challenge, so that it's probably about 15 hours total worth of content from beginning to end. Pretty high level stuff. You'll end up spending a lot more time actually writing your book, but just a heads up, it's about 15 hours of total content for anybody that does sign up, just so you understand why we're saying sign up in advance there, just so there's no surprise. Try to not overload that.
The pre-work, the work that you need to do before the challenge, I think, is around 5 hours of content. So 15 total hours, and then the live calls on top of that. So and we're always trying to bring an extra coach or someone that can provide value to the book publishing process. So we really are pulling out all the stops for people, but the focus is minimum viable book, right? Like getting that we call it MVP, which I really love. That's the purpose of this challenge. Beyond that, we can help you with any other parts of publishing.
Yeah, and outside of the challenge, the book, it literally is exactly what we talk about, and we've included the worksheets and the outline templates with the book purchase too, and along with I think 3 videos, one on Jarvis, one from John Rhodes, he's published hundreds of books, and the other from Matthew Thrush, who's probably over 300 best-selling books right now, as a publisher and a ghostwriter under his belt, with the book for free for $5. Like, we don't want to make price a problem for anyone getting into this challenge. If you want to go deeper, then the course is there, and we'd love to have you join us.
Yeah. And it's not a new thing. It's proven. I mean, that's the thing I want to make sure and stress, is that not only have I been through it, and like I said, I'm not just somebody sometimes I interview people on office hours and it's like, oh, hey, nice to meet you. I've been working with these guys, working on my own book with these guys, but I can tell you that they have many success stories of people that have gone through the challenge, and some have actually done it in 7 days and some did it after the 7 days, but they have several books published to their credit after this. And it is you guys have what I like about it, you guys have resources. It's not just, you got to, at the end, you're going to have a Word doc and good luck. You guys know your stuff. You got the book patch behind you. You've got editors. You got, graphic designers. You got people that you can recommend and say, look, let's get this done. Let's get you to the end result, and let's get you on Amazon, and let's get you selling. Let's get your funnel going. Let's make some money for you. It's not just a matter of, when you're done, you've got this big, massive Word doc. If you go all the way through, they have the resources to get you all the way to the finish line and beyond if you want to be. So this is definitely a very well worth your time and money, and that's a duh factor. Here's what I really want to stress to you and remind you guys again. You guys are webinar presenters. You're webinar creators. You also, either maybe you're sending people to a coaching service and getting somebody on a call at the end of your webinar to get them into your coaching service, or you're a course creator, meaning you guys have tons of content already. And I stress this at the beginning of this office hours, your book is probably already pretty much finished. It just needs to be refined and put into a front cover and a back cover, and get it moving. So.
For those, Darby, you want to touch on, a couple just even early adopters even early students that we had, had big successes with publishing the book.
Yeah, I give a few, one immediate direct one that just reached out to me a couple weeks ago. Sierra, she went through the first challenge with us and wrote a book called Not a Sales Book to outline basically her sales process for help. I think she helps Facebook group owners make more money from their Facebook groups and other stuff beyond that. She messaged me the other day. She's like, hey, someone saw me talking and holding my book up on one of my Facebook lives that I was presenting at, reached out to me about my book. From there, booked a call with my sales rep and closed a high ticket sale. And she's like, awesome. Like, reached out from the book, inquired, had the conversation, right? All the book did there was open up the conversation. It piqued the interest. It pre-sold the person that was interested in it because he already bought into her authority, that she knew what she was talking about, had a conversation with the sales rep, and it was a done deal, and like that process can happen with as much more if you want to put more effort into it, right? That's literally like only the beginning for one example. Another one is Austin, who's the CMO at Conversion AI. He wrote the book on subscription and helping companies transition into the subscription economy. He's helped SaaS businesses grow, add more MRR to their business over the last few years. He's obviously growing SaaS companies himself, and he posted on his Facebook, but he messaged me. He said someone found him by searching for like a subscription expert, finding his book on Amazon, and then reaching out to book a call with him and signing up for his subscription business. Like, all from just having the book out there, right? Like, he didn't have to do any additional work for that to happen. He just knew his target audience well enough. He knew the type of how the structure of the book would help. And that's what we help you. More importantly, like if you're going to do anything in your book, make sure the introduction works. Like there's study the bestsellers, see why they're doing it. We have some training on this as well, but like if all somebody does is read your book, they should be sold on what they want to do next with you by that point, or at least be sold enough to read the rest of the book, right? That's what the introduction is supposed to do. But I don't think that, this lady said, I read like the first intro and like the first chapter of your book, and I had to like reach out, right? Because he's the expert on subscription now. He's got a book, like he's getting business because of it, right? And that's, again, we've got dozens of people that have gone through and are seeing, like, starting to reap the rewards of this book and going on to write other books. So if you're interested as well, feel free to reach out to me directly on Facebook. I'm on Facebook Messenger all the time. So if you have questions about it, like Darby A. Rollins, I think right now. But
Rob commented back here. He said most of his books are on the business side of karaoke and bar live promotions. And he said it's a small niche, but it's made me one of the top authorities on the subject. I think I'm the world's best-selling author on it. It leads to speaking engagements, consulting, etc. Made a lot of money on the book sales themselves, probably less than $500, but I've made six figures due to the authority it gave me as an author. So absolutely. So think about that in terms of, even if you missed the deadline for the 147 to the 500, what's $500? If you're watching the replay and you think, oh, I'm too late. You're not too late. Rob just said in the comments he's made what? He said six figures, didn't he? I think I read that. Yes, he's made six figures being an authority in his space. Is $500 worth six figures? A trade-off for six figures? Yes, absolutely. So it's kind of a no-brainer for me.
I don't know how to turn off the phone on my. I muted it everywhere else. I'm like, how do I turn it off on my computer? I don't.
Right. It gives us that musical interlude. Right, next time.
We needed background music. There we go.
Yeah.
It's also for people watching that are just want to like learn more about this stuff in general. We have a free Facebook group called Jarvis Underground, which is a segment of the Conversion AI community using Jarvis to write, sell, market, publish books, all that above. So we've got a YouTube channel that we're growing, putting out content around this topic as well. So expect to see more of that over the year plus, as we kind of are working on this thing, but would love to see you inside the Facebook group.
Yeah. All right. Any last questions? I know there's about an 8-second delay between us and Facebook, so I'll kind of keep talking here while we're waiting for anybody else have questions. I have put in there the links for the challenge, the Jarvis Underground group you just mentioned. I put an Amazon link for the book and for the bookpatch.com. And if you guys have any other questions before we leave, if you are watching the replay, make sure you put #replay in the comments. Don't think, I missed it. I had a question for him. You can still ask your questions. And if I can't answer it, I'll make sure that I get an answer from these guys. And maybe, we'll get some people from this group into their group, and maybe we'll have them back after that. And we can get some more people in on the next challenge as well. But they're saying thank you. Thank you. Great. So I appreciate you guys. And remember, office hours is again Next Tuesday, it's always Tuesday and Thursday at 2 p.m. Central Time. So next Tuesday, 2 p.m. Central Time, you can stop in here. We usually do an AMA format, but this was a whole lot more fun than just listening to me talk for a whole hour and lab and waiting for some comments to come through. And actually, you were much more engaged for this anyway. So I had a blast today. All right, thank you very much. We'll see you guys next week on Tuesday at 2 p.m. for office hours. Again, thank you. Bye.